Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar starts our series of leadership team webinars that we put on a monthly basis to kind of go through some of the more advanced parts of BNI Connect that, usually specific positions have responsibility for. So today what we're going to be talking about is the chapter web pages. So what are the chapter web pages all about? How can you find them? What do they do? How can you go in and edit them and update them and kind of, make them your own and put your own graphics on there, your own pictures, and even your own words. So that's going to be today. Next week, we're going to continue the series with talking about the leadership team tools and reports on Tuesday. Then we're going to go into chapter goals for leadership teams, where you can enter and follow along with your goals throughout the year. And then we're going to end it all off with the online renewal process on next Thursday, a week from today. Couple of housekeeping things before we get started, and that is that this is a live webinar. So if you're here with me on January 19th, 2017, you have the pleasure of being able to ask questions as we're going through the material today. So feel free, if they come across anything that I'm talking about today, just type the question into the questions panel. I'll see that pop up on my screen, and I can answer it as we're going through the material today. I also always leave plenty of time at the end for questions, and even though this is scheduled for a half-hour webinar, I am always happy to stay on these webinars until every single question is answered. But to be respectful of everybody's time, I do try to make sure that we get all the content in within that 30-minute period. We're also looking to record this webinar. So we do record all of our webinars, and we put them up onto our support site for review at a later time. You can also find them on youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. And Willis has already made a comment on this live webinar. He says, I'm marvelous. So thank you so much for being here today with us, Willis. All right, so let's get started with today's topic. And again, we're going to talk about the chapter web pages. So one thing that you may or may not know, one of the functions of BNI Connect, it is a huge program. Not only are we performing kind of the accounting piece of all the chapters and the memberships, but we're also really kind of like not as an advanced version, obviously, but we're kind of a custom WordPress style system where we are producing about 7,000 websites that all tie back into BNI Connect. So they get pushed out from our servers, and they're template driven. So it creates a default website based on a template, and then they can be updated and edited. Now, the nice thing about these BNI Connect websites are that the information that it's pulling, so for example, the chapter lists and the event calendars, and on the chapter websites, your roster and your leadership team and your speakers, all of that is being pulled live from BNI Connect. So as soon as a member joins your chapter, their profile is available up on your chapter website. At leadership team changeover time, you don't have to go and relist all of the different leadership team people. They show up automatically on the chapter website. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Let's take a look at what these websites are, and I'm just going to show you, this is our Antarctica region. This is a regional website. I actually just refreshed this about 5 minutes ago and recreated it all from scratch. So this is what our websites look like when they just are completely out of the box. And if I was to go here and go and look at the chapters here on the website, I can see all my chapters in Antarctica. Again, this is my testing region. So we have chapters like the BNI Burr chapter and our Chili Hillbillies and our Frozen Assets chapter. We like that one so much, we even made a Frozen Assets 2. And let's take a look at the BNI Burr chapter. This is our chapter. We have 22 members in that chapter, some really great people, John Travolta and Art Garfunkel, Albert Camus. And if I go to the chapter website, this is a default out-of-the-box chapter website. So if you've never done anything at all with your chapter website, this is exactly what it looks like because they are all coming from the same template. But there's some good things in here. We can see that it has the information about our chapter and where we meet and what day we meet and what the meeting location is. It also has the membership count and your leadership team. Right now we don't have a secretary treasurer in BNI Burr chapter. If anybody's willing to apply for that position, just let me know. But we do have our Ricky Martin's our president and Adam Sandler is our vice president. We also can go to the chapter members, and all of the chapter profiles are here as well. So everybody's profile displays automatically. Now what this means to chapter webmasters, now we've had a lot of chapters have had chapter websites for a really, really long time. And inevitably, what happens almost every single time is that a web designer designs a chapter website. And they do it out of the goodness of their own heart and because they really want to show the chapter what they can do. Then they have to start chasing members. They have to start chasing them for profiles. They have to start chasing them for contact information. Everybody's lackadaisical about getting it to them. And eventually what happens is that website falls out of relevance fairly quickly. So this will at least keep all of that constantly changing information like the roster and everything. It will always be up to date when you're using a BNI Connect website. Now that said, you can still get pretty creative with these websites. And again, this is just a very, very simple, straightforward one here, but you can do some pretty cool things with them to really make them your own. So there's a couple out there that I really like. One is called the BNI Rugby chapter. And it's right here, the BNI in the Warwickshire region, even though I spelled it wrong. And this is one example of the BNI chapter websites. So you can see there's a big difference between this website and this website. Now there's still the common elements. For example, it has the chapter meeting location and the member count and the president, the vice president, secretary, treasurer, that's still there. The chapter members are all still here. So all the profiles are there, but they've done some pretty cool things. You can see here they put their, the Facebook and Twitter and email links up along the sides. They've made this a really long website. So they've got pictures, they've got stories, they've got videos, they've got ways that you can click and register to attend their chapter meeting. Again, that's also a BNI form, by the way. Some quotes from their members, all this stuff that they've created and added to their site. There's also a couple of additional pages that you can take advantage of. One is the chapter gallery. And the chapter gallery is it's a photo gallery. You can tell some stories through photos and keep some member presentations, for example. I've seen some people get creative and almost turn this into a blog style of picture gallery. That's possible as well. And there is a chapter news page also. So those are some of the things that you can do with it. I know that there's another one I think it's called the Golden Ideas chapter, BNI, and I believe they're San Francisco. And here they are. Yes, that's them. And these are some things that they've done with their chapter website. They put a picture of the building that they meet in. They made this more of a two-column site. They put a map in of where their chapter meets. They also have a special message from their president if you click it. This, of course, has all of their leadership, their chapter members. Now, here's something they've done pretty unique. They put some code in the header, and they designed this themselves. This is not a BNI Connect thing necessarily, but they were able to bring their members and categorize their members behind the scenes in order to show them in different groups of power teams. So I thought that was a really neat thing to do. And of course, they have their chapter gallery as well. And again, some simple changes, but they've really gone ahead and made it their own. So the question is, how do we get in and start using these chapter websites? Well, the first thing you need to do, of course, is to log into BNI Connect. And that's the other nice thing about this. You don't have to go to yet another website or another place to go through this. It's just here within BNI Connect. So if I go to BNI Connect, the place that this is going to be. So in order to be able to edit the chapter websites, you do need to have the role assigned to you of chapter webmaster. Okay, so that has to be part of your profile. Now, if you don't have that permission, that's okay, don't panic. You just need to get in touch with your regional office, your executive director or your regional admin or your director consultant, and they should be able to help you out with that. Now, they might require training first or a leadership team agreement, which is why we just can't hand those permissions out. But ask for that. Once you have that, what you'll see that most people don't see is this new option up here. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. This option right here for tools. So it says Network Operations Reports and Tools. Under Tools, you should see CMS, and under CMS, you should see Chapter Websites. So Tools, CMS, Chapter Websites. CMS, of course, stands for Content Management System. Content Management System. All right, and once we're here, what you'll see is all of the chapters that you have access to edit. I'm a system admin, so I happen to see everything in the system. When you log in here, you'll probably only see your chapter. So if I was the chapter webmaster for the BNI Burr chapter, then that is the only chapter that I would probably see in the list. So it gives us the actual current URL of the site, and it is a sub-page or of the regional site. So your URL is going to be the name of your region's website. If you ever want to see your regional website, just click this region website button in the upper right-hand corner. That will bring you to your region's website, who created it, when it was last modified, and of course the options. The options that we have here are to go in and edit it. So once we get here, this is our kind of the front end of the back end of the website. So you'll see that it's broken into a couple of different tabs along the top. We have our Pages tab, our Library tab, and our Site Information tab. So the Pages tab is going to be all of the different pages of the website and the different things that you can do with them. For example, I have here if I go out to our website, which I actually have a tab open already, I'm going to go to the chapter website. Essentially, what we'll see here, let me see if I can get this in a second window open up here. So we have our home page. You can see that's our home page. Under that, we have our chapter members page. This is our chapter members page when I click over there. Now, under the chapter members, you see we have these little greater than symbols. Those are sub-pages of the chapter members page. So once I get to the chapter members page, if I was to click on one of the members, this is the chapter members page. So I have the different sections of that. The chapter details, that's if I actually click on the name of the chapter, that will take us to the chapter details page. And then we have the send message page. So the send message page is, actually I don't have messaging turned on that profile. So if you have messaging turned on, there is a send message option that allows somebody to go in and send a real email to you through your profile. And it does have a brand new fancy CAPTCHA, so that we're sure that people aren't just sending random spam messages through there. There's also the gallery page. Now you notice there is no gallery page up here. And one of the reasons for that, let me move that out of the way a little bit, is that the gallery page to start with is hidden. And that's because there's no sense in putting the page up until you've started to upload pictures to it. So if I wanted the gallery page to appear, I would need to choose show in order to show that page. But we do have the news page, and the news page, let me get back over to my window. So we do have this news page as well. Now, one of the things about this, when you start working with this editor, is that when you're working on the chapter websites, you're really working on a copy of the site. You're working on a back-end copy that nobody else can see. So you'll see here that we have these two things in the gray box here. One says preview URL and one says live URL. The preview URL is the copy that you're working on when you're making changes. The live URL is the one that everybody else in the world sees when they're browsing the internet. So in order to make changes, you go in and you work on it, and then you need to publish those changes in order to get everybody else to see them. And what that does is it takes your preview, all the changes you've made, all that code, and it overwrites the live site. And you do that by simply clicking the Publish button here. For example, if I wanted to show this gallery page, I would go over and click the Show button. It's going to ask me, are you sure you want to show this page? Yes, I do. Thank you very much. And if I go to the preview page, we should see now that the gallery page is now showing, even though there's nothing in it. However, if I go to the live page, that's not showing yet because I haven't taken that step of publishing the website. Once I publish it, the live site now has the gallery tab on it. So along the top, before we go in and actually edit a web page, let's take a look at the different options we have here. So we have the pages, which we're going over now. If we go to the library tab, one of the things is in order to get pictures up on your website, you've got to host them on the internet somewhere. Now, if you're hosting them on somewhere else, some other site or something like that, and linking to them, that's one thing. Or if you're going to host them on BNI Connect, we need to upload them into the BNI Connect servers. And that's what the library is for. The library is the library of your images that you would like to display on the server, on your websites. So getting them up there is really easy. We just click on this Images tab. We click Upload. Clicking on the magnifying glass will allow you to go and search for any pictures that are on your computer. So let's say, for example, I wanted this, this networking picture, and I'm going to get this BNI Connect help picture up there, and maybe even this get connected, stay connected picture. So I'm going to choose those three by holding the control button down. I believe you can upload up to 3 at a time, and click upload. And now those 3 pictures are in my library. I can keep going with that. I can also delete them if I want to remove them from the library by putting a check and choosing delete. You can put unlimited pictures up on the server. That's not a challenge, by the way. Please try to keep it reasonable. You do have a limit of 5 megabytes per picture. We do want the images to be optimized so that they're quickly downloaded. There's nothing worse than going to a web page and it taking forever to load. A lot of time that's because there's pictures that are disproportionately large. Now you can also upload documents up there if you wanted to, and then link to those documents on the site. And you can do Flash. I don't think anybody would ever use this anymore because Flash really is not all that great on the internet anymore, especially with mobile devices. So I don't really recommend uploading anything in Flash. At some point in the near future, these are going to actually be updated to a new version of the CMS. So I doubt that new one has Flash in it. So anyway, that is the library tab. The next tab over is the site information. Oh, Greg has a question. I'm sorry, not Greg. George has a question from Northern Virginia. Welcome. So George says, can you upload video clips? No, you can't upload video clips. However, that doesn't mean you can't put video on your profile, on your chapter website. And I'll show you how to put the video on your chapter website in just a second. Fair enough, George? All right. So before we get there, in just a minute, we have this site information tab. Now, the site information tab, I recommend keeping almost all of this exactly the way it is. All right, we don't really want to mess with too much on this particular page. However, there is a couple of things that you might want to take a look at. The first of which is the chapter folder name. In other words, the URL. Now, as I mentioned before, these are template-driven sites, so they're created. When I created this BNI Antarctica site, it automatically created all 30 or so chapter websites that go along with it. And in order to do that, it took, basically the name of the region and then the name of the chapter, and then it put dashes in wherever there was a space or illegal character. So in this case, it made a folder name or a URL of shiver-region-bni-//burr. Now, if you wanted to tell somebody to go to your chapter website, that would be a mouthful, right? Oh, just go to antarcticreferrals.com/shiver-region-bni-burr. So we can actually shorten that and make it a little bit more reasonable. You can actually make it anything you want to as long as it's unique within your regional website. So you might want to do something like, BNI BRRR. Or so you can say antarcticreferrals.com/BNI Burr. Or just Burr, or whatever you want it to be, you can change that folder name. The rest of the stuff I really don't recommend changing. These are all the various buttons that are up in the corners, and we do like to keep as much consistency as possible between the chapter sites that way. Analytics code, if you want to track this through Google Analytics or another analytics service to find out who's clicking on it, how long they're staying, and what buttons they're pushing and things like that, feel free to put a Java code in there as well. Now, the gallery works almost the same way as the library. All you have to do is upload pictures to it and make your comments. So I can go in, for example, and add the album. I can add an album description, and then I can upload pictures into that album. Now with these, you can only upload one picture at a time, so I can go in and manage the photos of this album. I'm going to add a photo. And you do have to do them separately because, again, we have to do a description on each one of them. So it's going to only allow you to upload one at a time. And that's pretty much all there is with the gallery there. Let's go back to the pages. And again, if I go up to the preview URL, we should see those changes we made. So for example, the gallery now has this album in it, and it has the pictures that I put up there, right? But of course, our regular page is not showing that yet because we do need to publish this. Once I publish this, it'll do two things. Now it is live at this new fancy schmancy URL as opposed to the one with all the dashes in it. And of course, my gallery is now active on there. All right, so for each of these pages, you can go in. Rusty asks, so the gallery is albums pulled from the library. Actually, the gallery is kind of its own separate library. So you'll notice here in this library, I have this help button, right? Oops. I have this help button. I have this picture of people sitting at a table, and I have this get connected, stay connected. The gallery creates its own kind of library in these various folders that you put up there. And so this one has, again, its own pictures within that particular folder. Does that make sense, Rusty? All right, so the pages, on each of the pages, you have a couple of options. Edit name, so you can edit that, basically that button name and the page name. So if I didn't want this to say home, I wanted this to say about our chapter. I could change that from home to about our chapter. And then on that page, what you'll notice is, if I go to Antarctic Referrals here, the preview page, this now no longer says home, it says about our chapter. Now, meta tags, I'm not even going to pretend to be an SEO expert. This one, you may want to talk to an SEO expert and ask what the best things to put in there. These do help with the searching and the Google ratings and things like that. But again, that's an art form in and of itself. And finally, we have edit content. Now, the edit content, depending on the page, there's different sections or amount of information you can actually change. For example, this page, you can change almost everything on this page. You can't change the stuff over here because that's being pulled from BNI Connect. Things like the chapter members, you have the ability to like add a header and change the header information. You can put footer information on here, but now the middle of this page as well as the side is driven by taking stuff out of BNI Connect. So you don't have full access to everything on all the pages, but you do have access to areas of each of the pages. All right, so to do that for each of these, I just click this Edit Content next to the page I want to edit. Now, keep in mind what this just did. This just opened a new window. If you click that Edit Content button and nothing happens, turn off your pop-up blocker. All right, so go to Edit Page, and this is where all the magic happens. So if you've ever created or edited a Word document before, you pretty much have most of the skills you need to go in and edit one of these web pages and kind of make it your own. It's functions, again, pretty much like Word in that you can, change text. You can do things like put in bulleted lists and numbered lists, bold, italic, underline. And you can change the color and the font size. And the color. You can highlight colors. So there's lots of stuff that you can do to make it your own with very, very, very little or no web experience. The things that you will probably want to do that might require a little bit more web experience is you're going to want to add hyperlinks and pictures, for example. So the pictures, let's say I wanted to replace this picture with another one. I can delete that, and I can add a picture by clicking this picture button here. Now this is where if I click Browse Server, this is going to go and look through my library for a folder. Again, not the gallery. This is going to look through the library. So there's some stock photo and things up there, but you'll notice it has the pictures that I also uploaded. So it has this one here, the people sitting at a table, this Get Connected, Stay Connected button, and this BNI Connect support. So let's say I want this BNI Connect support button on there. You can just double click it. I accidentally right clicked it. This one looks like it's going to be a little bit big, so I'm going to change this to maybe 200 pixels and click OK. And now you see I have a picture up there on the website. Again, the trick to that is making sure you upload your pictures to the library first. And then the last thing is if you want to hyperlink something. So let's say this word BNI, I want that to go to the BNI website. So I just would click this hyperlink and type in the site, bni.com. Now you'll see it's going to be underlined in blue, and when somebody goes there and clicks on that, it will bring them to the BNI site. Of course, after you make changes, click on Save. And George, I have not forgotten about you. I'll show you that in just a second. Now if I go to view the site, you can see our new gorgeous site. But of course, that information's not there because I haven't published it yet. It is showing on my preview site all of these wonderful, gorgeous changes that I've made. Once I publish this, which usually only takes about 2 seconds there, I go back to the live site, and now the rest of the world can see my gorgeous handiwork. And that, for the most part, is the ins and outs of editing a chapter website. So what I'd like to do is to open this up for questions, and George, I am going to show you how to put a video clip on here right now. But for those of you that need to leave absolutely right away at the bottom of the hour, thank you guys so much for being here with me. I do look forward to seeing you on a future webinar, and just a reminder that this is being recorded. So George, video clips, let's take a look at that. So here's the deal. I'm going to go back to our About Our Chapter page and click Edit Content. You can do a lot of advanced things with these using some of these other options and buttons and things like that. It's important to know if you are a web designer by nature, by trade, though by no means do you have to be. I know just enough to be dangerous myself, but you can also get to what's called the source code here by clicking the source button, and that will take you into the HTML code itself. So if you're more comfortable actually coding, you're more than welcome to do that. You also need to know this because you do have to get into this source code in order to put the video. Because what you really need to do is somebody else has to host that video. We just don't have the capacity or the bandwidth to host all the videos ourselves. However, there are a lot of great free services that do that, such as Vimeo, such as YouTube. So once you get it up onto their sites, most of them will just give you what's called an embed code. Let me show you what I mean. So let me just move this out of the way a little bit. I have a ton of stuff on our YouTube channel. So if I go to youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, I've uploaded hundreds and hundreds of videos to our BNI Connect Global site. So let's say that I wanted to put one of these videos on the website. And again, it doesn't matter whether it's a 2-second video or a 32-hour endless loop of Star Wars. Whatever you'd like to put up there, however long or short it is, it doesn't matter necessarily to the site because you're hosting it somewhere else. So I just go to, let's say, this BNI Connect education moment for building your network. In YouTube, you'll see that there's a share option. And if I click on share, it'll give us a couple of things. Now, we don't really want this URL. That's just a URL link. What we really want is this embed code. And this is what will take that video and insert it into the website. Now, you can take it exactly as it is, but keep in mind this is a pretty big video looking at it. So you can change that. You can either manually change the height and width, or if I just click this show more, I can change the video size down here. I can even go to a custom size. And let's say I want this only to be about 200 pixels wide. It'll even keep the aspect ratio the same for me. And if I go back up here, see it changed the iframe code so that it's 200 and 113 now. So now I just copy this. And just to make life easier, I'm going to put this at the top of our chapter members page. So I'm going to click Edit Content. So you'll notice in here we have our member stuff in the middle. We have our header of the page that we can have access to. And we also have the footer of the page that we have access to. Now, if I just put the code in like this, basically into the web page, all it's going to do is display that code on the site. So if I go now to the chapter members page here, it's just showing, it's like it was text, right? So what we really need to do is to actually put this into the source code. So I'm going to delete that from there. If I click source, now I'm in the source code. I just need to put that in there. And when I click back, now we'll see that there's a video sitting in that spot. So if I click save, when I get to that page, there's now a video there embedded, and I can click play. Let me go back to this page here. I'm going to refresh it. And now you'll see that we have a video sitting up here on the top of our members page. Why not make a quick video of your chapter saying hello to the camera or something like that people could click on when they get to the chapter members page. So lots of things that you can do with this. Within the confines or within the parameters of the website. So does that help, George? Is that what you were looking for? And you want a little bonus information? You can also embed those videos on your personal profile. So if I go to, I'm just going to go to options, my account, and this is the back end of my profile. Right here in the my business, you'll notice it has allowed me to embed the iframe code. I could just copy and paste it in there, and when somebody views your profile, the video is here on my profile. So that same video that you might be putting on the website, you can dual purpose that and use it on your own personal profile as well. So Just thought I'd share that with you. All right, does that help, George? Yeah, and exactly. That is a really good deal for a short commercial. Take a video of yourself or get somebody to take a video of you giving an introduction as if you were at a chapter meeting and put that on your profile. So great use of video there and great use of your profile also. So, all right. Do we have any additional questions or comments or concerns or criticisms or compliments? Rusty says, is it permissible to link to other BNI sites, such as a button to pay dues or renewals? Yes, I think it is. What you want to do is, if you're in any way questioning whether it's permissible, ask your executive director. That is the number one thing that I can tell you to do. They are essentially responsible for all of the content that ends up being on these sites, as the owner of the region. So I would say you really, really need to check with your executive director if you're questioning it in any way. This is one of those cases where it is better to ask permission than to beg for forgiveness later. And yes, you do have to ask for regional permission to get to the tool tab. What you need to do is just tell them you need to be assigned as the chapter webmaster. Mac says, how would you get those videos from Facebook or other social media sites? To be honest with you, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure if you'd be able to get the video off of Facebook, like if you did a Facebook live feed or something like that and wanted to grab that recording. I'm really, really just, I'm not sure. I don't even know if that's possible. But once you have the MP4 file, or you have the the MOV file or whatever else it might be, once you have that file, you can upload it to a place like YouTube. So I'm sorry, Mac, I wish I had a better answer for you on that one. Willis asks, how many credits for this? Make sure you go and give yourself 1 CEU. So go in, click on Submit CEUs. The second one, at least in United States English, says BNI webinar on it. Give yourself 1 credit. We'll let you round up to the nearest hour on this one. So, all right, so George asks, how many webmasters can a chapter have? The limit to that is the number of people that are in your chapter. Of course, we don't want too many fingers in the pie, but there really isn't any limit to the number of webmasters that you can have. Unlike, you can really only have 1 president, 1 vice president, 1 secretary treasurer. You can assign as many webmasters as you'd like. Well, the region can assign as many webmasters as they would like. All right, what else? What other questions? All right, so if there's no additional questions, I'm going to say thank you guys so very much for being with me here today. I greatly appreciate you taking the time to learn more about the chapter websites, basically improving your BNI experience. If there's anything I can do for you, just let me know. Support at bniconnect.com. Always happy to help. A good referral for me is to please pass along this webinar information. We do a series of 9 webinars every month, and a good referral is getting more people onto the webinars and showing the value in them. So thank you so much for your time today. Look forward to seeing you on a future webinar, and as always, happy connecting.